the most intense Chainsaw Man chapter that we've had in a very long time. And to me, it feels very climatic, that we're getting very close to the end of the story. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope you're all doing well. I apologize, I had a ton of videos planned, but I couldn't get any of them done because I was sick, holidays, etc, etc. It was just a miserable time for myself. I hope you had fun, took care of yourself, relax. Well, the lovely people over at Viz wanted me to talk about Takopi's Original Sin, and let me tell you, it's worth your time. It's a really good read. Now you might think, hold on, weren't you the person that disliked the opening of this story? Yes, true, but I have done a complete 180 after the story finished, and I changed my mind. I know, crazy. Went from not really digging it to actually thoroughly enjoying it. Good news is that if you're in the same boat as me, maybe you want to give it a chance because you're interested, or you really support the author, you can pick yourself up a copy right now. So head on over to Viz, add it to your collection, you will not regret it. Don't miss out. I give it, maybe an 8 out of 10. Feeling generous. I still wanted to talk about this chapter. There's a lot of great here. Spectacular moments. Some very pivotal, climatic choices that Denji is currently making, and I am all for it. When it comes to Denji, Chainsaw Man, Pochita, Nostradamus' prophecy, and all of the influences that are currently within his life, it's sporadic. It's all over the place. This journey that Chainsaw Man Part 2 has taken us on has been part fun, part enjoyable, part lovable, but also part hurtful, part saddening, knowing that we're getting closer and closer to potentially the conclusion of the story. It seems like it's in sight, but you never really know with an author like Fujimoto. In saying that, the choices here, for me, is what's very interesting. The way Denji thinks about things within this chapter, where his mind's at, where he is emotionally, the vulnerability within everything is spectacular. It's very enjoyable, but also very disheartening. It's choices that he is forced to make. It's choices that he's getting pushed into a corner for, and he currently has to reach above and beyond to be able to do it. Admittedly, we haven't had a long period of time with Denji not being Chainsaw Man. This wasn't really, I would say, a subcategory or an idea that Fujimoto was fully committed to. And I say that in a way where it's kind of partially within the story. It is an idea, but it's not fleshed out the way that you would think. If anything, there has been more constant pressure and reassurance being added to the idea or the different counterparts of Denji to be able to or not be able to turn into Chainsaw Man. The consequences of both of those options have been played upon heavily, yet the idea itself, with how Denji thinks about it, how he operates, has kind of been loosely played with. We've seen certain moments, him in the cinema, him talking with Fumiko, him talking with Yoshida, etc. But it's never really been explored in a long-term type of way. And that's most likely because the idea of it is pretty crazy. It's kind of difficult to believe that Denji in any rightful mind would ever want to commit to the idea of never being Chainsaw Man ever again. And this is the chapter where you see it. The mind ticking over, all of the emotions coming together, and him getting the green light to finally rip his cord. It doesn't come easily, however. It comes in a completely different way, which we don't really know the consequences for. So I want to have a look at that. Denji is currently backed into a corner. This is not a good thing. On one hand, you have public safety who are threatening to kill Naruto and everything that he loves if he turns into Chainsaw Man. On the other side, you have Fumiko and the Chainsaw Man Church threatening to kill Naruto and everything that he loves if he doesn't turn into Chainsaw Man. These are his only options. There's no escape from this. There's no roundabout circular answer that he could give that pleases everyone. He doesn't have a choice. So he is backed into a corner. Now, if it was only these two options, it would be kind of okay. It would be manageable. Denji would be able to figure something out. However, because on top of this is Nostradamus' prophecy, and the reasoning behind both of these groups wanting and not wanting him to be Chainsaw Man is because of Nostradamus' prophecy, then you have a much bigger problem. Death. Age of Devils. For some reason, the church thinks that Denji turning into Chainsaw Man will bring forth the Age of Devils, and that he could potentially be the one to stop it. Public safety probably doesn't think that and has been trying to shelter him for a long time. So what does Denji think about all of this? If you go back and read his facial expressions throughout this chapter alone, you can see that he is stressed, that he's kind of reaching his limit of the amount of mental pressure that can really be thrown onto him, because that corner that he's stuck within, the choices that he's able to make, is super limited. And the more things that you keep throwing at him, the more things that you keep pressuring him with, the more that corner starts to become fragile, it starts to crack, it starts to break. So impulse starts to take over. The absurdity of the moment starts to take over, and you can see that spread within his face. He's becoming more emotionally driven rather than thinking about the choices that he's about to make. This is okay because of all the things that is currently happening to him. So they open up with Fumiko. Chainsaw Man Church are threatening him. All the hybrids are here. They never got killed by public safety nor captured. They're just running around, and they're using Fumiko as the first introductory to pain, to misery. And this is what kind of sparks Denji up, which is kind of interesting because it does show that he has some sort of attachment to Fumiko. He does care about her safety, and I think that's a pretty nice thing for a character that hasn't been in the story for long, that we didn't know if she would live, die, or see another day, is now being used as an emotional guilt trip. Interesting. When the hybrids try to explain themselves, Denji does not take a bar of it. He's not listening. He's not thinking about what they're saying, because what they're saying is genuinely outlandish and doesn't really make sense. Even the hybrids themselves kind of play around with the idea, and there's no real seriousness behind it. They want to stop Nostradamus' prophecy, yet they're trying to pull out the anger of Chainsaw Man and bring it to the forefront, which they are somewhat successful in actually doing. Not in the way that you would think, but I also don't think they understand the anger that they're trying to bring forward. So Denji is declining all of this. He's not hearing it, it's not going through his head, which is perfectly understandable because he's in a very stressful situation. He's actually pretty attuned with the insanity of what they're actually talking about, which is interesting. Out of all the things that's currently rushing through his brain, the stupidity of what they're trying to do and what they have done to all of things that are surrounding him. Mind you, he's watching his house burn in front of his eyes and his friends be threatened. That small pocket of clarity of insanity still kind of shines through. You gotta be proud of him for that. But this is where the problem takes place. One thing that we weren't really hoping for. Naruto and Barum have a bit of a scuffle, and I love how, I guess, kind of over the top Barum is. He's very scary and controlling and kind of just terrifying in a lot of different ways. And Naruto does not have the strength, the, I guess, mental fortitude or perception of herself and himself to be able to control him. Remember, she is young. She's still learning. She's still growing. It's kind of the idea that her power is still manifesting. This does not affect Barum the way that you would think. Everyone else that is normal? Sure. Barum, however, no. And he provides two different answers for this, which I don't think any of the answer, by the way, that his body is still under Makima's control or that his heart belongs to Makima. It could be a little bit of that, but I don't really see why. To me, this seems like the human nature of the horseman becoming a lot weaker. Naruto is more human than what Makima was, and that she is young and inexperienced, and on top of it, scared of this situation, so her power cannot manifest in a full-fledged way. Barum is a strong individual being a hybrid, so it's going to be easy to take control of him, and this is exactly what happens. What makes this moment terrifying for me, not only is he choking out Naruto, but he's still expressing this type of disrespect towards Denji, saying that this is all his fault, that he's been lapping up peace promised by public safety. You can kind of see that those words get to him. Barum even saying that these flames are your punishment. To me, to us as viewers, we know the absurdity of that statement. The absolute torment of things that Denji has gone through is anything but peace, anything but subtle everyday life that's just enjoyable to witness. Chainsaw Man is as much as part of Denji as anything else, yet he hasn't been able to use it, be it, indulge within it, or just have fun with it because he's been trying to live this normal lifestyle, yet the mundaneness of it is not for him. It takes a toll on him mentally. This is arguably some of the funnest moments that he's had, yet the desperation behind all of it is what's currently front and center within his mind. You see it on his face, his expressions. He is scared. He's worried about what has happened. Now Naruto is able to break free of Barum, which, good for her. She's learning. But this gives Denji the opportunity to transform, and this is a very intense moment. One of the best that we have seen in a very long time, because it has been quite some time since we've seen the fury, the anger, the utmost rage of Denji's inner self come out to play. So naturally, the only way that you can do it and introduce it again is with Pochita. This is beautiful. I don't know how else you would want to introduce this, but you see a Pochita and a very young Denji waving at each other. It kind of seems like they're almost saying goodbye, but to me, and the way I interpreted it, is that they were greeting each other once again, especially with this young representation of Denji, the childlike state. This is him. Pochita is here to accept him again every single time. I love every moment of this, but I don't think they're prepared for what's about to happen, because there's still anger here. When he rips that cord, he rips it through his shirt comes off, and then right before he changes, he's laughing, he's smiling, he's so incredibly happy to be back. This is his identity, this is him. Chainsaw Man is what he loves, and now it is about to most likely see it for the first time in all of its glory, but I don't think the hybrids truly understand how strong Chainsaw Man can be and the fluctuations of that strength. Mind you, they're getting Denji right now, but what they're actually looking for is the full armor Pochita. Just a quick reminder, full armor Pochita completely bodied Makima and all of the hybrids she had under her control at the time, and more, with ease, by the way. So I don't know what they were expecting, because they can't control that full armor Pochita. There's a high chance that all those hybrids would get erased or even just instantly killed, because no one knows how that Pochita actually functions. There's nothing even saying that that Pochita would actually go and fight death either, or even become a representation of humanity fighting for its own safety. There is just too many unknowns. This was a fantastic place to end, and I couldn't be more excited to see what happens next. Where do we go from here? Because the 3-week break that we're in right now is longer than usual, and over the new year, etc., Christmas makes sense, but I wonder if the chapter is going to be bigger because of it. It's a climatic moment, it's intense, and anything could happen next. So I would love to hear all of your thoughts. However, that is all I got. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.